Welcome back. The organization Girls Right Now inspires and empowers young women, girls, and gender expansive youth to find their voices and become agents of change in their communities. Girls Right Now achieves this all while offering support by a diverse community of like minded individuals and mentors. Community Manager Emily Rigby and Senior Community Marketing Manager Vahni Kurra joined me to discuss the program. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, can you just explain the overall mission of Girls Right Now?
Yeah, Girls Right Now's mission is really to break down the barriers of gender, race, age, and poverty to mentor the next generation of writers and leaders. Together, our community channels the power of their stories and their voices to shape culture, impact industry, and hopefully inspire change.
Now, a current theme for Girls Right Now is radical gratitude, which I think sounds really cool. Can you explain, what this means for the organization?
Yeah, definitely. So this is actually our 25th anniversary year. And so we knew we wanted to do something special, and radical gratitude is really the essence of what it is like to be at Girls Right Now. One of the biggest lessons we've learned from mentoring for so long is that none of us gets here alone. We get here because of the people in our lives who support us and believe in us. So we want to use this year to thank our mentors who have contributed so generously their time and their energy to mentor and volunteer. We want to thank our mentees who show up every day with their bold and authentic voices to tell stories that really do change lives. And we want to thank our partner organizations, our alumni who continue to come back and support us, and really everybody who's picked up a book we've published or who has come to an event, and to really show our gratitude.
And in what ways are you honoring the theme and showing gratitude? So, what are maybe some of the events that you're having or some of the programs that you're hosting to kind of really show radical gratitude?
Definitely. So this year we're really excited to announce that we are releasing a special book from Harper One. It will be out on April 2nd. It's called Girls Right Now on the Art of the Craft, a guidebook to collaborative storytelling. And so the project with that is we went back into our archive of 25 years of young women and gender expansive youth writing their stories, and we had our current mentees select stories from that group. They then wrote responses to those stories and also writing prompts to go with it, and we put that all into one book. And we call it a guidebook because we really want people to take inspiration from these stories and write their own. And so to really pass on those lessons that people have learned in mentorship and to continue the practice of storytelling. We're also having an event on April 12th. It is at the Stavros Niarchos building at the New York Public Library. It's on the rooftop terrace, so it'll be really fun. And we're going to have mentees reading their work. We're going to invite everybody from the community, so everyone can come on down, everyone can have this really beautiful moment to express their gratitude, to create together. And really that's what Girls Right Now is about, so I'm very excited for it.
Now, there's a huge effort to create a culturally and educationally diverse community. What does the organization do to ensure that they're creating this safe space?
Yeah, we work really hard on our kind of recruitment and application process to make sure that our community is really diverse and representative of a lot of different backgrounds and ideas. And the way we do that, we have all of our mentees and our mentors apply to be a part of Girls Right Now, and then each one of them is interviewed by a Girls Right Now staff member, and they're asked about their goals and their interests for sure, but also we really get into questions about what underrepresentation means to each individual as they're joining. It's really important that everyone at Girls Right Now understands that underrepresented communities are not underrepresented by accident, right? That those communities are systematically silenced and not offered representation, right? So we really want to make sure that everyone in our community understands that diversity needs to be intentional and chosen, and that is the way that we move forward and grow together.
Now, I also want to add that the organization includes trans and gender expansive youth and young adults. Why was that so important to kind of, add a space for, people from that community as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So trans and gender expansive young people have always been a part of Girls Right Now's community. But when our organization was founded 25 years ago by our founder, Maya Nussbaum, there was a sort of disparity in the publishing industry and media creation that was really only being talked about in a male-female dichotomy, right? And so we wanted to, over the past 25 years, really acknowledge that the conversation around gender has changed and grown, and that now we understand that there are many, many groups that are discriminated based on their gender. That includes cis women and trans men, gender expensive individuals, non-binary individuals. A lot of different groups are systematically not given space at the table. And so we want to make sure that at Girls Right Now, they are given space.
And I kind of want to expand on that. What are some of the challenges young girls and gender expansive people of color face, just in this realm, whether it be education, opportunities to grow? Can you just talk a little bit more about that, especially, I guess, how it relates to youth? Because I think we hear a lot about it, maybe in the workplace or, adults, but how does it affect youth as well?
Yeah, so the CDC recently released a series of reports saying that young women and gender expansive youth are facing the highest levels of mental health issues than they have in decades. And that is really the result of many things. We know firsthand from talking to our mentees that they face discrimination based on their race, based on their gender, that they face prejudice, that they face sexual violence. And also the results of the COVID-19 pandemic have meant that a lot of people are feeling more isolated than before. And so that has led to a lot of mental health struggles. And really, how can we expect people to learn in school, to express themselves fully and authentically if they don't have the energy to do that mentally or physically? So I would say mental health is really a huge part of the challenges facing our youth. I would also say that teenagers, college-age students also want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want to feel represented. And especially for young people of color, that is not always a given. Our media is not really up to date with the population that is consuming that media and that is creating that media. So we want to make sure that those things actually match up.
Now, how is your organization using writing to address this? And, I also want to add, in what ways could it be healing, for a lot of these young people?
Yeah, that's a really huge point that we've realized over the years. Writing is a tool for education, yes. It's a tool for career advancement, yes. But it's also a tool for healing, and it's also a tool for wellness. So even anecdotally, just hearing from our mentees, I know one mentee who recently lost 5 family members due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And she told me that her mentor was like her North Star, that she was the person who guided her through this grief. And a lot of that guidance was through their one-on-one mentoring sessions where they would write about their emotions. They would write about the grief that she was experiencing. And it really allowed her to see a path forward. So yes, I do think anecdotally, but also in the evidence that we have, we survey our students, and every year they experience a positive increase in self-esteem, a positive increase in social skills, and they also tell us that they really have gained a lot. And we call it Writing Our Way to Wellness, which is actually the name of one of our podcasts that we run, where wellness advisors talk to our mentors and our mentees about different subjects related to wellness and how writing can actually be a tool for processing.
Now, what are some learning methods or techniques Girls Right Now uses to empower marginalized youth? And I also kind of want to focus on the fact that, unfortunately, a lot of the time people from marginalized youth, go to schools where they're not always given the most resources to, excel in, areas of like writing. So, how do you use that to empower them and maybe not use that as a tool to like make them aware that they may be in some ways disadvantaged, especially when it comes to learning?
Yeah. So learning at Girls Right Now really takes kind of 3 main buckets. We have our community, our curriculum, and then mentorship. And so within community, we have monthly small group meetings that we call studios, where mentees and mentors come and they talk about writing together. They select a certain genre they want to discuss together. They share writing with each other. It's a really nice kind of back and forth. And then in terms of curriculum, we get into a lot of the skill sets here. So we have live events that mentees can attend if they would like to learn from professionals live on the spot, Or we also have an online curriculum that mentees can move through at their own pace, at the time that makes sense to them. It's really important for us to work in flexibility into all of the things that we do so that any mentee from anywhere with any kind of schedule can access the things that they need to. And then finally, we have mentorship, which we've talked a bit about, but our mentors work one-on-one with our mentees. They have pair sessions, usually multiple sessions every month with each other, kind of talking about writing, absolutely, but also about life and about what's going on in their day-to-day and how that mentor can help them achieve whatever goals they have set for themselves, whether that is within the writing creative sphere, in their careers, or just in their life in general.
Now, because the organization has such a wide array of just people that are included, how do you find the right mentor, for the right participant?
Yeah, so we take a lot of time to make sure that we are matching mentors with our mentees in a really just human way. There's no automation, there's no computer that does it, and we take all of the information that we have on our mentees and mentors from their application, their interviews, from their writing samples, everything that we have about them, and then we go through our community team individually matches each mentee with a mentor, looking at a few different aspects, looking at geography. We are nationals, we have mentors and mentees all over the country, so making sure that they are at least somewhat close to each other so they can meet up in person. We look at age, making sure that we're not matching a 24 mentee with a 25-year-old mentor. We want them to be a little bit separate in terms of their generation, so we look at that. And then, of course, we look at their interests, what they like to do, what they like to write. Maybe they both mention that they like the same TV show, and so we're like, maybe they'll bond over that. It's about trying to find a point of connection that mentee and mentor can use to then grow a really fantastic relationship.
Now, for my last question, Vahni, this has been an ongoing journey for 25 years, as you mentioned, which, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
How has your organization evolved to reflect the young women and girls of today? And, possibly what could that look like for the future?
That is a great question. Yeah, I think, well, as Emily had mentioned before, really recognizing the wide diversity of experiences that our mentees are bringing. So understanding that there are gender expansive individuals in our community, understanding the things that excite them also. I think, sometimes we talk a lot about the challenges that young people face, but I think one of the most amazing things is getting to see the optimism and the excitement for creativity that a lot of young people are bringing. We have so many mentees who are engaged in social activism and who are really passionate about issues like climate change, about racial disparity, about addressing economic and educational inequality, and using writing as a tool to actually do that. We also have so many people who are interested in telling stories that no one has ever told before, and making sure that everybody sees themselves in the books that they read and the movies that they watch. Because if you can see it, you can be it, and that is so much of what mentorship is about, having somebody to look up to and say, I could be a journalist like them, I could be a helpful and contributing person like this mentor that I have. So I think that in so many ways we are responsive to the culture. We're always thinking about our mentees, talking to them about what they want to see, and that's how we move forward.
And I also want to add that I think it's amazing that it's also validating a lot of their experiences, because I think that when people think of older generations versus younger generations, there's a lot of headbutting and people maybe not validating what they're experiencing. And I think that it's so amazing that there is a space for kids, young adults to kind of go and kind of share a little bit of their soul. And a lot of this stuff can be vulnerable because we're talking about marginalized communities. So I think that this is amazing. I'm so glad that you both, were able to join us and have this conversation. So I definitely want to say thank you and just keep up the amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To learn more about the amazing work that Girls Right Now does, please go to their website at www.girlsrightnow.org. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recable cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Files Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Hemick on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.